Good afternoon, and greetings from a very rainy West London. This afternoon, it's the 17th of October today, and my friend Jim has very kindly lent me his Skoda Octavia 1.4 TSI estate to do this vlog, which is going to be looking at, should you really buy an SUV? Is this what you really need? So when Jim and I were looking at a car for him earlier this year, obviously you can see the child seats are in the back. He was looking for something that's very practical to carry his family around, as well as doing motorway journeys and some town driving as well. For some reason, we didn't consider an SUV or a crossover or whatever it is you want to call them these days. They seem to have multiple names. But this is still a really practical car, and if you look at the Skoda range, for example, it's actually a lot cheaper than buying, say, a Kodiaq or a Karoq. What's really defines an SUV is that it's taller than a normal car. It tends to have, pseudo rugged styling at least, and they tend to have a taller body, a bit more ground clearance. And they tend to be perceived anyway as a bit tougher. Ford in America have recently actually discontinued their entire passenger car line, apart from the Mustang, to make way for SUVs, and so you can't buy a Fiesta, Taurus, Focus, anything like that anymore. And it looks like many other manufacturers are following suit. There have been many other announcements of this type which are coming up. One of the advantages of an SUV or a crossover is that they generally have a high driving position, and you can get a good view of the road. Also, some people find them easier to park, although I've hardly seen any that don't have parking sensors or reversing cameras, so I don't really know if that's an argument or not. Also, some of them are quite good value. There's Dacia Duster and the SsangYong Tivoli in particular. They're cheaper than a normal hatchback like a Focus or a Golf. However, if you compare like for like, because Dacia don't offer a sort of a normal family-sized car, they only offer an estate or the much smaller Sandero, and SsangYong don't offer a family hatchback at all, just for Tivoli. You find, comparably speaking, that if you're going to buy a Karoq or a Kodiaq, which are the two Skoda SUVs, they're a lot more expensive than an Octavia. They also tend to retain their value quite well. So if you're looking at the second-hand market, SUVs are worth more money. If you're buying new, then that might be a factor. But if you're buying used, you find something like this estate. I mean, it's a very capacious estate, this Octavia. There's plenty of room, and it's very, very comfortable. That might be a factor in your decision whether you're looking to buy used or new. My personal feeling is though, if you're comparing like for like, when I was looking for a car last year, before I bought my Seat Toledo, I did consider the Tivoli, and it was comparably priced with a Toledo actually, but there were just a couple of things I wasn't so sure about. I still recommend them; they're excellent cars, but ultimately the Toledo offered me more of what I was looking for, and I think the high center of gravity on these SUVs, it tends to mean they have worse handling unless you're looking at the sort of very high performance variants. So whether you were looking at one as like a lifestyle statement, or you're really looking at one as an alternative to a family hatchback or an estate, I'd do some research and look quite carefully as to whether or not you really need to spend that extra money. You tend to have higher insurance, there might be higher fuel costs. I just look at that carefully as whether you really need one, and something like this estate, Jim's been telling me today, it does pretty much everything you need to do. It's very comfortable on the motorway, it's good in town, it's only a 1.4 turbo, so it's got good fuel economy, the tax is cheap. I don't think there's anything that he probably gained from buying the Kodiaq, apart from maybe that's got 7 seats and maybe to take it off-road, but it doesn't really do that, so I think that most people, you don't need one so much. So I hope you found that video useful, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to give this video a like, and if you wish me to source a car for you, it doesn't have to be an estate or an SUV. But my website is lloydvehicleconsulting.co.uk. My Facebook page is facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. Thank you very much indeed.